Lummi Island is likely the most tranquil, peaceful hideaway nestled amongst forests and numerous wildlife that you have never heard of. This view is from the eastern shores of Lummi Island. That is Portage Island there in the background. In front is a body of water known as Hale Passage. And the number of boats you see in the water right now is pretty much typical. From this part on the eastern shores of Lummi Island, you might see 6 to 12 sail and power boats in an entire day. If that many. Peaceful, isn't it?
Hi, it's Dan again from Nancy and Dan Travel the World. Today's video is different. It's from a little known location that's a mere 10-minute ferry ride from the mainland. Lummi Island is located in Whatcom County, near the city of Bellingham, Washington. The Whatcom Chief is the name of the 20-car ferry boat that runs on a regular schedule from Gooseberry Point to Lummi Island.
We wanted to make this video on a topic that you might think is pretty mundane and not worth a few minutes of your time because we think you could be wrong. Nancy and I stayed for more than a week on Lummi Island in the summer of 2024, Nancy's second and my first visit, and we were amazed how peaceful and tranquil we found our stay. Yet, most people have never heard of Lummi Island, and of those who have, most have never visited. We wanted to show you, compared to ferries to other islands in the area, just how simple it is to use this ferry because we can tell you from personal experience and that's what this video is all about, showing you the boarding process and the gentle scenic ride in the evening when Nancy and I arrived for our week-long stay at Lummi Island, and then show you what the boarding process was like when we left Lummi Island. Lummi Island is a 10-minute ferry ride off the northwestern coast of the state of Washington. As mentioned, the port where you catch the ferry to Lummi Island is in a town called Gooseberry Point. Here you simply see the vehicles lined up at Gooseberry Point waiting for the ferry to return from Lummi Island. Once the vehicles leave the ferry, then the crew has the waiting vehicles slowly and carefully drive onto their assigned space. It is easy, convenient, and actually a pleasure to use. It presently begins on weekdays just before 6 a.m., with shuttle service every 20 minutes or so throughout the day, and then hourly in the evening, ending its service just after midnight. The ferry captain has the discretion, of course, to offer the ferry service to Lummi Island more frequently if needed. Service on weekends and holidays presently starts around 7 a.m. with hourly service throughout the day once again until just after midnight. We'll put a link to the ferry schedule website where you can access the full ferry schedule and additional information in the description below. This type of ferry is one where you drive your vehicle onto the ferry and remain in your vehicle for the duration of the ride. After all vehicles have been boarded, the crew come to each vehicle to check if the vehicle's driver has a monthly pass, and if not, will collect a fee for the ride. Notice in our case there was one charge for the driver and then a second charge for the passenger. This fee is for the round-trip service. Let's look at the beautiful sunset and its reflection on the water of Lummi Bay. Why are you laughing?
I told Cindy, I said, we made it. She says, woo.
If you are finding this video useful and entertaining for you, please at this point do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our Nancy and Dan Travel the World channel, where we publish 1 to 2 videos per week to popular tourist destinations around the world like Rome and Athens, on cruises like a 7-night Mediterranean cruise, and to hideaway escapes such as this to Lummi Island. Thank you very much. Such a beautiful and tranquil scene as we now approach the pier on Lummi Island, as we can see here.
Better hurry up.
She'll hold us. A lot to
And
do.
with that, it's now our turn to depart the ferry. Guess one of us needs to put their seatbelt back on. We will show you in future videos many different parts of Lummi Island.
Nugent.
I will put my seatbelt on.
I believe you.
So here's the library.
For now, staying on focus, let's see what the boarding and departing process is like leaving Lummi Island, as Nancy and I did at the end of our week-long stay in the summer of 2024. Since we already took a long look at the view on the way over to Lummi Island from Gooseberry Point, we'll skip the ride portion of the return trip, not to waste your time. The wait in line for the first ferry of Monday morning leaving Lummi Island is directly across the library. And this rather interesting dragon. Before you know it, the Whatcom Chief is ready and the boarding process begins. Do you remember that the fee we paid on the way to Lummi Island was for a return trip? That being the case, we did not have to pay for this ride, which was nice and convenient. Now that you have seen for yourself how easy and convenient it was for Nancy and I to use the ferry for the brief 10-minute ride to Lummi Island, let us know in the comments any questions you may still have on the ferry to Lummi Island. Go ahead now, grab another cup of coffee or tea or glass of wine and watch this video from our Lummi Island playlist showing you the tranquil sunrise. You will not want to miss seeing the beauty and tranquility of a Lummi Island sunrise. Or if you have already seen it, here's another video from our Adult World Travel Adventures for you. Thanks for watching.